What's going on, successors? Welcome to another installment of Speak Your Success. I'm your host, Jonathan Jones, and y'all, I've been just watching some news circulate over the past few weeks, and I've been sitting back and I've been having conversations with my producer, and I've been talking with my friends and different people around me, and I'm like, this is wild. Just seeing the way that individuals are attacked for feeling the way that they feel. And even further than that, hearing people share opinions, some I don't agree with, some I agree with. But I was like, wait a minute. Something has to shift and something has to change. So tonight for this show or this episode, well, we got a great episode for you, but I'm going to share just some clips of some things that I've been seeing circulate on the internet. I'm gonna hop in and share my feedback, but yeah, I want y'all to check this out. So I was watching an interview or a conversation between Dr. Umar Johnson, right, one of my favorite thought leaders of this time, right. I agree with a lot that he shares from the educational perspective, but not all, right, not all. A conversation between him and Nick Cannon. And we all know that Nick Cannon, as of late, has multiple babies, and people have their feelings and their thoughts about him. However, during the course of this conversation, Dr. Umar began to share something to speak about black men and potentially why Nick Cannon is not in the relationship that he desires to be in. So I'm gonna play the clip, and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna share my thoughts and I'm gonna share my feedback. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
Black men who come from issues of abandonment, trauma, family turmoil, any type of dysfunction, we sometimes create realities in our life that will prevent us from having to take the dangerous leap forward of attempting to build an authentically intimate relationship with a woman, because deep down inside, we either feel we don't deserve it, feel we will be inadequate in trying to do so, or feel that we will be disappointed by the partner.
Okay, Dr. Umar. People can feel what they want to feel and say what they want to say about Dr. Umar, but when it comes to counseling and when it comes to being able to assess individuals, Dr. Umar has done his due diligence, right? So what he's saying in this clip is based on previous experience, right? Based on previous experience, some individuals, he said black men, right? We fear the relationship because we think we won't be adequate. I agree. There were many times I ran from not just relationships, but also responsibilities, right? And understanding that if I felt I wasn't capable, then I wasn't going to stick around and try to take that leap, as he put it. But let's keep listening to the rest of this clip. Let's keep listening to the rest of the clip.
I believe in our limited discourse here, Brother Nick, that you run from love.
He feels that he runs from, man, this was a good if y'all haven't checked out this interview, check it out. Council Culture, Nick Cannon featuring Dr. Umar on this episode.
And I believe you create a lifestyle for yourself that helps justify why you don't give it an opportunity, such as your career being so busy,
right,
all the children you need to tend to.
Got enough love from them, Doc.
But the problem though is we will one day wake up and realize that of everything else we had in our lives that we enjoyed, the materialism, the success, all of that, we will one day wake up to realize it still doesn't equal what we missed out on.
So the Bible says, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor with the Lord. Listening to the clip here and listening what Dr. Umar is sharing, I understand what it's like to live a somewhat promiscuous life, right? In college and in my younger adult years, right? But during that time, the thing that I had to realize was if I was talking to a young lady, hanging out with a young lady, whatever it might be, and then we bumped heads, I never allowed myself to develop to the point to where I would talk out conversations. I would have to deal with conflict. I would have to navigate and lead in certain areas because I wasn't mature enough to handle that at that time. However, now being married, going on 5 years in December, one thing I've realized and learned is that I can't go nowhere now. So any conflict, any debates, any tough conversations that happen to come up, because they will, right? I'm 36, my wife is 36. We lived different lives before we even knew each other, and definitely before we got married. So we're not always going to agree on everything. However, being married, it's allowed me to understand and grow because I have to stay in it, right? I can't flee. That's not how it works in marriage. Yes, some people do divorce. However, my wife and I had a conversation when we first got married. We said divorce is off the table. So we're going to work through what we need to work through. We're going to talk about what we need to talk about, but then move on. And this is maturing. This is manhood. This is womanhood. This is growing up. No shade to brother Nick, right? I have the highest respect for Nick as a media mogul. He's made the decisions that he's made. However, this shows me how one can develop intimacy, right? Because if you begin to grow and you have a run-in with your spouse or partner, but you navigate through that, you get stronger. You're connected at a different level than you were before. Let me play the rest of the clip, man.
From allowing ourselves to be genuinely loved by a woman. And the serial monogamy in and of itself keeps us so busy that we rarely ever sit down long enough to think about how we're missing out on not allowing ourselves to be nourished spiritually, psychologically, and emotionally by a real woman.
Serial monogamy, man. Y'all, I was talking to my producer and I was just talking about like some topics and stuff like that. And, you know, people always talk about dating. There was a point to where I dated a few people at one time. And although society gives us the idea that it's glamorous, right? How to be a player, Bill Bellamy. I'm showing my age a little bit. But thinking about, oh, wow, I can have multiple women over here and then over here and over here. It is exhausting, okay? There's not nothing glamorous about that. It is exhausting, and it costs you a lot of money. And there's only so much time to go around. Y'all, be careful. Be careful. What the world is selling you, everything that glitters ain't gold. So I want to encourage you, right? Like I said, the Bible says, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. But as we keep talking about black men and intimacy, now I want to transition to some news that happened the other day in sports, right? In sports. And there was a gentleman, he was drafted by the Lakers. He had a great game. And then he had a big moment where he finally had the opportunity where he had a basketball idol growing up. And I'm going to play the clip and I'm going to let y'all see what the rest of the story is.
Favorite player of all time also knows who you are. We saw Steph Curry having some words with you on the court after the game. What can you tell us about that conversation?
Man, it's crazy because I've liked him since I was in like 6th grade. Like, I don't even know what to say, man, because like that's my favorite player ever. And the first thing he told me was like, I'm a big fan of your game. And like, truth be told, I'm a big fan of him, you know?
Like imagine that, right? Just imagine for a second, you know, you're the kid, you're getting ready to go to bed and you realize you have some dirty socks on the floor. You're counting down 3, 2, 1, and you're pretending like you're your favorite player. You throw the socks over to the hamper. You're like, buzzer goes off and you're excited. Why? Because you're pretending like you're your favorite player. And then this young man gets to meet his favorite player and they get to compete against each other. Man, listen to the rest of the clip.
Like, I had his jersey. He signed it twice. I used to sleep under that jersey. And like, I just wanted to be like him so bad. And so just to be able to meet him, him be able to have some respect for me, and then us to talk in the back, he gave me a pair of his shoes and signed them. Like, that meant the world to me, man. Like, my dad knows, my mom knows. Like, it just means a lot. And like, I don't know. It just means a lot.
And look, I'm not going to share my thoughts on the clip just yet. But now I'm going to play another clip. And this was from a podcast. It's from Gil's Arena, right? Shout out to Gilbert Arenas and his podcast and the team that they have over there. But Kenyon Martin Sr. is the one who is sharing his thoughts on this particular episode. And I'm going to let y'all make your own assessment. But just check it out. This is what he had to say after seeing and hearing this interview from Quincy.
Thumbs up, young man. You made it to the...
Right.
Yeah, why the you crying, dog?
It's a moment.
No, you ain't win nothing, lose nothing.
No.
Because for him, this is the biggest moment because he didn't think this moment was happening. He didn't get drafted.
I understand.
He was a
that.
50th senior.
Yeah, I get it. It could have been all of that in a box together, the emotion of being there and finally getting to see Steph.
Yeah.
I get it, yes.
Where did he?
But we playing professional sports and...
Rice.
And-
I think it was like that, Rice.
Rice University.
And then Xavier.
Hold on. That's why the he's soft as He went to Xavier.
1 year.
That's why the he's soft as
He went to one.
That's why he crying.
He went one year.
I don't give a he went to Xavier. Fuck him.
Oh, that's your rival?
All right, so let's pump the brakes for a second. Let's pump the brake and let's bring a little context. Who is Kenyon Martin Sr.? All right, Kenyon Martin Sr. is a dude who came up. He hooped at Cincinnati, right? Cincy back when the Bearcats. Well, he's had those super cool Jordan uniforms and everybody wanted the shorts. I know I wanted a pair of shorts. Like Cincinnati was legit. And these dudes were some hoopers, right? Some straight up raw, hardcore hoopers. And Kenyon Martin had that persona going into the NBA, right? Strong attitude. This dude was a physical player. And that attitude still apparently has rolled over till now. However, this is dangerous. This is really, really dangerous. And the reason why I say that, imagine a kid who looks up and who sees Kenyon Martin Sr. saying this about a guy who was just a little emotional because he got to meet his idol who was hooping on the floor. I personally don't see the issue with this man being emotional. Even if you go on his Instagram page, he has this picture of him and Steph to where he's smiling, they pointing at each other, and then you scroll through the carousel, there's videos of him as a kid getting his jersey signed. There's photos of him to where he's standing outside of Oracle Arena, right? There's photos of him to where he's getting other stuff signed by Steph. this was a big deal to him. And I'm getting the chill bumps right now because this is the part to where us being older men, us being men that people look up to, especially being black men, we can't attack somebody for showing emotion. When I was younger, and let me just preface this by saying, me and my dad, we are good now. All right. I love my dad to life. Me and my dad have talked. We've had this conversation, and he's heard me say it publicly many times. But me and my dad, we're good. We've done business together and everything. I love my dad. We talk just about every day on the phone. But when I was a kid, I would laugh and I would play a lot. And then my dad looked at me one day and he was like, "Son, why are you laughing? Be serious. You got to be serious, son." And I said, "Fine, Dad. I'm not going to laugh no more. I'm not going to have no fun." And then I held that grudge for years against my father. And the crazy thing was, until I told him a few years ago at Christmas, he didn't even know I still was holding that grudge. And it was affecting me, not him, because he didn't even know about it. Now, this is the danger, right? We're talking about Kenyon Martin Sr. talking about Mr. Quincy Oliveri. You cannot attack a man for being emotional and being aware and in tune with his feelings just because you feel the way you feel about him. That's your problem. That don't got nothing to do with my man, right? He's emotional. A dream became a reality. And then you heard Gilbert Arenas even go on to say that this brother was worried that he was emotional because he almost didn't get drafted. Well, he didn't get drafted, he got signed. And then he goes and has an amazing game, but shows up and shows emotion. If he can't show emotion here for a dream becoming a reality, when can a black man show emotion? The world is already tough enough on black men as it is. Can we be honest? Like, can we be real for a second? The man's taught as a boy, right? As a boy, we're told, don't cry. We're told, man up, right? Even to my son falls before he starts crying. I'm like, get up, son, get up, get up, get up. But I'm gonna allow my son the space to feel emotion. I'm gonna allow my son to show me if he's in pain, if he's upset. Because the issue becomes if a young boy who doesn't know and understand, who doesn't have the EQ, right? The emotional intelligence to be able to show a feeling, then it's going to be bottled up. And then when that feeling and those emotions are bottled up and they don't have the words to communicate, or they don't have the space or the place to be able to cry and release and let it out, it's going to be like a shaken up soda bottle. And then eventually what happens with that soda bottle? It explodes. And then it affects everything around it. So today, what did we talk about on the show? Today on the show, we talked about black men and intimacy. Why do black men struggle with intimacy? We struggle with intimacy some of the time, right? Some of the time because we never had somebody show us and let us know and have the space to have the emotion, to feel the feelings, right? To be able to communicate what we're feeling, to be able to share and show emotion. For a man to give another man a hug and say, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But I talked about Dr. Umar and Nick Cannon and him breaking down just what Nick potentially is struggling with and why he hasn't had that opportunity or doesn't desire to have that opportunity to be married once again, right? The Bible says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And then number two, if you aren't in tune enough with your own emotions, Don't make somebody else the villain for feeling theirs. We have to get out of the space of attacking men and attacking individuals who are in a place that's healthy, who are in a place that's pure. Kenya Martin Sr., sir, I respect you as a hooper, but as a personality, bruh, it's okay for us to evolve as men. It's okay for us to grow up and then to give direction, give guidance, give insight, give wisdom to the next generation, to make certain that if we were wounded, we were scarred, we were hurt as kids, as youth, that we don't become scarred, hurt adults. Dr. Frederick Douglass said it best, or Frederick Douglass, I'm not sure if he was a doctor, but Frederick Douglass said it best. It's easier to repair broken boys than men. Family, this has been another installment of Speak Your Success. And remember, speak your success, believe in your greatness, and continue to create the life and business of your dreams. Why would you and why should you live any other way? Till next time, peace. God bless.